Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've always, unless it was for a paying job, kept all my scraps around and made things out of that all the time. Problem is there are some scraps that have become so expensive, you really don't want to have any scraps. This is one of them. This is bearing bronze. It's expensive. And in fact, even aluminum rounds and things like that have gone up way up in cost nowadays. So before I make something, wouldn't it be nice if you had a way to practice? Well, you can. This is what I use to practice on. It's called machine wax. And now, as you could hear, it's a hard product, but it's a heck of a lot cheaper than aluminum, almost anything right now. And there's one little thing that, well, let's show you some things. You might remember these. These were a couple of the blanks, practice blanks I made for Don's Cincinnati Shaper Nut. Here's one, and the reason it's really good, I've got the other piece over here. Sometimes things don't go as you plan them, especially in a CNC machine. This is one where I wrapped the tool right down into the top of it and broke it all to pieces. But fear not, this stuff has one great property, and that you can reuse it over and over and over and over. This is a piece of 4-inch in the way that I bought it. I think I bought about 1.5 feet of this years ago for $70. The good part is you can reuse it, and that's what I'm going to show you today. I've done it over the years in different ways, but I wanted it to be easy for a guy in a wheelchair to use. So I purchased a few tools, and I'm going to show you, we're going to explore together what we can do today with it. This stuff is a lot cheaper than any of these things, so I'm not going to melt this one down. That's what you do, you remelt it, and you pour it into a shape that you can machine or need. I'm going to keep this one. I've got this little cut into it like I did all these others. See on the bottom of that? So I could hold it in a vise in the CNC machine. Now my CNC machine is older than dirt. I think it's a 1996 Bridgeport Torque Cut 22. It could be better, easier to program and things like that, but it works for what I need. One of the things about laying in a hospital, you have a hell of a lot of time to think. And if you're lucky, in today's hospitals, you've got an internet connection so you can buy things and look at things. What I did was buy a pot to melt the wax. And this is one, I think it was like $30. It's got a cord, came with a temperature probe, a stir stick. And the reason I bought this one was because of the exceptional instructions that came with it. This is an all-in-one pot that people buy, I guess, to do candle work with. It's got a high and a low, And one of the neat things I liked was instead of the way I used to do it with a dipper and all that, you can pour it directly into whatever you're molding. An all-in-one setup. See how far this cord will reach. Thanks everybody for all the well wishes you gave me. Comments and things like that's what keeps me going. I'm going to have to wheel around the shop over there. That's a pretty tight fit on that cord. Let me wheel around and plug it in. I'll be right back. Well, I got it plugged in. I hope y'all can hear me okay. My voice sounds real hoarse still. I got to go to another specialist, an ear, nose, and throat guy, to see what the heck's wrong. They're saying maybe I got some kind of injury from the intubation tube. But I got it plugged in now. I'm going to turn it on and see if it warms up. Little red light come on, buried in the plastic there. Now I'm not going to be molding this again because this is ready to go for the next project that I have in that size. If I have to have something longer, I'll just have to make a 4-inch mold and make this longer. But I do have all these pieces that I don't need these anymore, and they're kind of odd shaped, so those will go into the pot. Yep, getting warm, I can feel it. This one for sure is broken too. Let's see what else we have. Well, I can see it's already started down there. Now, I save all my chips. I brush them out because they'll remelt also. Been meaning to do this for a long time. I just hadn't had the time. I guess now that can't do much out of the chair. Perfect time to do this. I forgot if this stuff smells bad or not. And I got bigger chips here. And I got some in an old stringer bag. These had a little oil on them, so I put them in this bag and I washed them. Get the oil off of them, not lose them. Let's see here. Guess I could time this. Alexa, what time is it?
Good morning, Tish. The time is 10:52 a.m.
Do I look like a Tish? God, I hope not. Well, she looks pretty nice. Maybe it would be an improvement. Well, I'm going to put the top on this. Maybe it'll melt it faster. Said I got it on high, and I don't know. Never used it before, so I don't know how long it's going to take to melt that little bit. But while we're waiting for that to happen, just like metal casting, you got to have a mold to pour this into. And so I was looking around in my shop and I just didn't have very many things. Oh, sure, I've got round pipe and stuff like that. But getting it out of the mold and all that, it's going to be a pain. So I got to thinking, there's got to be an easier way. So once again, I went on to Amazon and I came up with these. Now these are cake pans and they're rubber and ought to be able to, they're silicone rubber. They ought to get real easy to get that thing out of the mold because I can stretch these. Came in 4 different sizes. I think this is about 13 inch, the largest. And this looks like about a 3.5 inch. So today, I'm going to pour a couple different ones. We'll just see which one works the best. I'm going to go ahead and start off with a small one because that's a pretty easy size. And then depending on how much you have left, we'll go with the next 2 sizes. So put them over here. Guess I could unwrap my stick. Wood. How you guys doing in there? All right. You can smell it melting. Well, I might have to go look up the melting point of this stuff. This thing might not get hot enough. I use it for candle wax. So I figured this would be close enough. Maybe not. We're back up to 247. Let's see where it goes. $250. I'm going to go look up the melting point of this stuff. I'll be back. All right, I went to the internet real quick and looked up what the melting point of this is, and it's 240 degrees. It's up to 282. The flash point is 575. And for current pricing, I went to machinablewax.com, and you can order directly from them on the internet. A piece of 4.5 inch diameter cylinder, 14 inches long, was $70. So it's still pretty reasonable compared to something like that. $276. So that's at the melting point, above the melting point. The only other wax melting I've done is, other than this, is beeswax out of my beehives. And for that, I got a big crock pot that works real well. Well, it's melted in the bottom. So let's see if we can push some of this in there and get it going good. Melting beeswax, it's usually good to have some melted in the bottom before you add any more. It seems to melt faster. Let's pull this one out and see if we can see what it's done to the bottom. Yeah, Started melting it. I'm going to take these pieces out and see about, don't you go anywhere. See if we can melt that faster and then just put in the big hunks. Now beeswax and other waxes, candle wax, is much softer than this stuff. Yeah, we're going to be there. It's just going to take a while. If you're going to use this, I suggest doing the chip pan in your different machines, clean them out real well before you put them down. And I sometimes put in sheets of newspaper. Makes it easier picking it all up. I guess if you're going to do a lot of it, you could use a vacuum to pick it up, and I've done that before. What I'm going to do is put some more chips in it and see how far we get by just melting them and then going to the big pieces when I get a good pool in there. This stuff machine's really nice. Just about any tool you use for aluminum you could use on this. Now I was using, to make these pieces, I was using a ball end mill bit made out of carbide. Of course, you probably cut for 300 years of that. I have an old RCBS lead furnace that I was thinking about using for this, but I thought it would get too hot. Tell you what, this might take a while. I'm going to put the top on. See how that goes. Whoa! Thinking this might help. It certainly did. Just a lot of wax up here. Well, we know it'll work. And I guess this isn't taking that much longer than I expected it. It's a 600-watt heating element. Okay, I've gone ahead and put the rest of the chips in, sticking this piece on to melt it down. These are the two pieces I've poured so far. And hopefully by the time this gets melted plus the rest of the chips, I can pop these out of there and use them again, because I don't think I'll have enough to fill up that other one. It'd be awful thin if I did. I'll be back. Well, I'm back. I went off and took a little nap. Left this pot running and it's pretty much melted down again. But I've already shown you what I did there. These are the little baking cups, pop hand size too. And it looks like they worked out real well. A nice little round out of it. It's got a and my cup looks like it's just all ready to go back. Good. It comes out even bigger, or better when they're bigger. As you can see, looks just almost like the original one. The original one doesn't have any draft on it like these do, but getting my max all back together and it's good form. I think I got enough to pour this one. It's a pretty nice little wax melting pot. Got a spout and the wax cleaned up real well after it went in there. Let's pour that one to the top. A little thicker. And I have enough for this one. Come on, come on, come on, you can do it. I know you can, come on. A bit more. Looks pretty good. So now I know that I can pour a small one and then that next size. Let's put it over here where it's a little bit flatter. If you're not in a hurry, this makes a pretty neat way of doing it. Now from all the stuff I showed you at the first, that's all I have left in this box of all my wax that I've collected the last year. All this fine stuff is what I had left over from making that nut for Dawn. Because I was doing that weird shape for that nut. Had to do a lot of fine carving. Otherwise you can go faster and make bigger chips. It doesn't hurt anything. drop. There we go. Voila. Now this is probably going to take 40-50 minutes to melt. But I'll go do other things while that's happening. All the little pieces that come off, you can put it in there. Cleans up pretty easy. So like a crock pot. Guess you could use a crock pot, but this pours so much nicer with a built-in spout. It'll take a while for those. Still warm after 2 hours. But, like I say, you can melt it and do anything you want with it. That's all I have for you. Thanks for watching. All that's chips.